Hi, and welcome to this quick look at how calibration curves in gas chromatography work. So I'm just going to do a quick review of how gas chromatography works. So the mixture as vapor is added, and they're moving through the column, the components of the mixture. And what's happening is you can see the different components, red, white, and blue, start to separate out according to their different affinities for the mobile phase, which is the carrier gas, and the stationary phase, which is the inside of the column. So what happens then is they're ionized as they meet the mass spectrometer. So it's running through it one more time. Mixture as the vapor is added. The components of the gas start to separate out according to the affinity they have for the two phases, mobile phase and stationary phase. And as they separate out, as they arrive in the mass spectrometer on the left-hand side, they're ionized, and then a mass spectrum can also be produced alongside the chromatogram. So looking at the chromatogram on the right-hand side, the peak position represents the retention time, and the peak area represents the proportion in the mixture. So waiting for the components to come through the column one more time. As they start to get ionized and picked up, you can see that you can get different peaks. So the desktop version looks a bit like this. You'll have a rotating carousel for storing samples. The sample is injected at the top there. The column is inside an oven, which keeps the mixture hot and vaporized. Sample travels through the column. The mass spectrometer picks up the molecules of each component and ionizes them, and then the fragmentation patterns are established, and you get your mass spectrum and a gas chromatogram. So looking inside the column a bit closer, you can see in this animation there's three different components. There's a green, a red, and a blue. Stationary phase is the gel lining in the column. The mobile phase is an inert carrier gas such as nitrogen or argon. The green component in the animation has the greatest affinity for the stationary phase, so it's traveling more slowly. In other words, it's tending to attract to the gel that's inside the column by intermolecular forces. The blue component tends to attract more strongly to the carrier gas by intermolecular forces, so it gets swept along more quickly. So what you then end up with is a calibration curve like we were talking about. So the area under the peak is proportional to the amount present, like we suggested earlier. In our calibration curve, here's an example of one. We prepared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different samples. And you can see along the bottom there's a concentration that goes with each one. So the known concentration for this sample was 10 to the minus 4 micrograms per liter of atrazine. 10 to the minus 3 micrograms per liter was this sample, 10 to the minus 2, 10 to the minus 1, and so on and so forth, as you can read off on the x-axis. So what you do is you put your unknown sample through the GCMS, and what you do is look at the peak area that you get. So remembering that the animation we looked at earlier has a carrier gas and your sample. Sample vaporizes because the column is in an oven. That means the components move at different rates, and you get different areas under the peaks. You see the tiny little peaks just forming up here. So let's imagine this was our unknown, and this is another unknown. What you can do is actually extrapolate the peak area that you get, that you can read off from the gas chromatogram, across to the calibration curve and then down to the x-axis, and you can see quite clearly that it's then quite straightforward to actually read off what the concentration would be. Okay, hopefully this has been a useful quick look at the process. As always, thanks for listening. Until next time, see you soon.